The Green New Deal has faced its fair share of criticism, but some research say it is possible to completely phase out our fossil fuels, if not by 2030, then by 2050. Stanford professor Mark Jacobsen told The New Yorker that right now we have about 90% of or 95% of the technology we need, and he and his colleagues have a plan for it. In fact, they say they have a roadmap to zero emissions economy for all 50 states. The key, like the Green New Deal, is to convert the existing electric grid to clean energy. Joining me, Stanford University Associate Professor of Civil and Environmental Engineering, Mark Jacobsen. Mark, there are a lot of folks out there that look at the hurdles before us and getting something like the Green New Deal done and think it's just too much. How could we possibly do all that in such a short time frame, given all the reports out there that say that we need to do something quickly? You say we have the infrastructure or the technology already in place. Explain that.
Well, so we developed plans to transition states and countries to 100% clean renewable energy. And what we need in the United States is to electrify all energy sectors, that's transportation, heating and cooling, industry, and provide that electricity with clean renewable energy. And we have 90 to 95% of all the technologies that we need to do that. We have wind turbines, solar panels, geothermal power plants. We also have heat pumps, which would transition almost all building heating and cooling, and including hot water and air heating and cooling. And we have electric vehicles now. The things we don't have are like long-distance aircraft, like Boeing 747s. We'd have to transition those possibly to hydrogen fuel cell and electric hybrids. But aside from long-distance aircraft and long-distance ships, we pretty much have most everything else we need.
What about those who argue it's too expensive to implement all of this, to retrofit all buildings, to get the electric grid up and running the way it would need to be in order to address these concerns?
Well, it's actually the opposite. It's more expensive not to do it. I mean, the upfront capital cost of transitioning all energy in the entire United States, including storage and transmission, distribution, it's on the order of $9.5 trillion up front. But that you really have to look at the cost of what's called the levelized cost of energy, which is how much people pay per unit energy they consume. And actually, it cuts the cost of energy by 1/2 because we actually use 1/2 the energy. It's a much more efficient system to electrify everything. We don't actually, 13% of all energy worldwide is used to mine, transport, and refine fossil fuels and uranium. And by going to clean renewable energy, we don't need to use any of that energy. We lose another 21% of all energy due to the inefficiency of internal combustion engine vehicles. If we go to electric vehicles, we eliminate that, and we save 21% of energy. Heat pumps, getting rid of gas heaters in homes, would eliminate 15 to 16% of all energy worldwide if we transition those. And there are other efficiencies too. All in all, we would reduce power demand by over 50% by transitioning. This means that instead of the United States paying $2 trillion per year for energy, just people's energy bills for all purposes, we'd pay $1 trillion. And we also have to count the fact that 62,000 people die of air pollution each year from fossil fuel and biofuel combustion, and millions more are injured and become ill. And that costs the U.S. about $600 billion per year. Climate change is going to cost $3.3 trillion per year from U.S. emissions alone by 2050, and it's already costing over $1 trillion per year worldwide due to U.S. emissions. So that's another. So it's really like, instead of a system, the fossil fuel system, costing $5.9 trillion per year, it costs $1 trillion per year. It's an 83% reduction of cost of economic, or what's called social cost, and a 50% reduction of cost to consumers by transitioning. And we also create 2 million more jobs than we lose by transitioning in the United States alone due to building out this infrastructure and operating it over time. So you get job creation, you reduce overall economic cost 83%, you reduce actual consumer costs like 50%. So by not doing it, you're really losing out.
Who are you talking to? You say you have a roadmap. Who are you giving that roadmap to?
Well, the roadmap for the U.S., the first one that we did for all 50 states, was available in 2015, and all three presidential candidates on the Democratic side adopted it as part of their platform and as part of the Democratic platform in 2015 as well. But there are actually over 100 cities in the United States that have now committed to 100% clean renewable energy. There are 160 international companies, including all the major companies of the world, have committed to this, and Apple and Google have already achieved 100% renewables in their electric power sectors. There are now 2 states, California and Hawaii, that have laws to go to 100% in the electric power sector. Washington, D.C. also has a law to do that as well by 2035. And there are now at least 6 or 7, maybe even 8 states now that have proposals in their legislatures to go to 100% renewables. So this is something that a movement has already started on this a while ago, and it's coming to fruition. I just want to point out that there was a public opinion poll in 13 countries that with 26,000 people, and 80% of the people in this poll, including over 80% in the United States, want to go to 100% clean renewable energy by 2050. And so this is something that people want, and it's possible. So there's really, and it's economically beneficial and jobs-wise beneficial. So there's really no reason not to do this.